broadcasting live from Houston, from the space city to the world. You are watching NowMedia Television.
Hello and hi, I'm Peggy. I'm your host with Peggy's Talk, and thank you for joining in on today. Today we're going to talk about Black History Month. We're going to talk about Valentine's Day for you lovers that's out there, okay? And we're going to talk about how Black history affects you, not just about all the people in the past, because we know they had created and did a whole lot for us, but I want to talk about your family members, family members that encourage you along the way, people that nobody knows about, but they help you to be the person that you are today. So today I'm going to talk about my grandfather, because for years I was looking for Mr. Hurd, okay? And when I went to U of H downtown, I had to write a report, and my title was Looking for Mr. Hurd, and everybody was like, who is Mr. Hurd? I said, you're going to get to know Mr. Hurd today. So what I started talking about is my grandfather. He was born in 1900, so he was his parents was killed in slavery, so he had to become an adult at 13. So that's why I'm trying to say I don't want to hear no more excuses, because hey, my grandfather became an adult at 13, and through all that he grew up to be a good man. He grew up to raise his family. He met my grandmother when she was already had a child, so you know how that went. So he went on and married her and had 5 more kids, and all his kids became entrepreneurs, even him. Even by being a child at 13 and becoming a grown-up, he still was able to be successful. He came from Egypt, Texas, and then they moved into Wharton, Texas, and my mom then moved to Houston. When he got to Houston, guess what? He bought his first home, and I think back then a house was, I think he bought his house for like $11,000. So you know what? You people that don't have no home, shame on you. Because my grandfather, like I said again, he was 13, became an adult, and was able to build and take care of family and still purchase a home. So y'all remember that when y'all go to Peggy to get a home for me, right? Y'all know I'm a realtor, so I need y'all to call me, and I'm gonna make sure you get that home, okay? And so he did that, and then my grandmother, she had her own business as well. She used to go door to door, and she would sell clothes. So that's the way they raised my whole family. So my mom, she was an entrepreneur. My auntie, she was an entrepreneur. All 3 of my aunties was entrepreneurs. My uncles was artists. One was a chef. So you know what? They just did great things in this world that made me want to be the person that I am today, to be successful, be an entrepreneur, to be able to help as many people, and to honor them and continue to live right, because I know they're looking at me. And so I want y'all to think about the people in your families that did a great impact for you. I not only are here today by myself, I'm here with my good friend all the way from New Orleans, my good friend Escalante, and I always say his name wrong, so he always say Peggy's okay. Now I've been knowing him for over 25 years, but I always say the last name. I say it's Lunday, but he said it is Lundy, right? Lundy. Right. So I always say it wrong, but guess what? You can Google him. You can Google him. He's an actor, and I want to introduce to you guys my friend Escalante. Hi, Escalante.
Hi, very nice to be here.
Thank you for coming. And how did you meet me? We met, 25 years ago?
So we're in the late 90s through a mutual friend, and we were involved in a multi-level marketing company. So that's kind of how the relationship started.
Right, and we've been doing, so tell them a little bit about yourself. How you became, you've been knowing me for years, but we grew up, you watch my children grow up, you just been around Escalante. Every time I needed you to come to Houston just to hang out with me every now and then, whatever I'm doing, if I need you to support, you would come support. Now you're coming to support me as an actress, because you told me, not an actress, I'm just not an actress yet. Not an actress yet, but not an actress yet, but for me to be on a television show.
Commercials.
You told me for years to do commercials.
Yes, I
So
did.
why don't you tell me why you thought I should do commercials?
Because
You kept telling me to do it.
you have this magnetic, radiant personality
Wow.
that I thought was very sellable. And when you went about your work, you always worked at a high energy. There was never any slack, no taking any time off. It was 100% all the time. And people like that because most people are not that. And people gravitate towards what they want, even though they are not that. So you had that.
So you wasn't one of the people that tell me I need to tone down. Because I had people say, Peggy, you need to tone it down. And I'm like, hey, I like me. You know, and that's why you've been my friend for this long, because you know I'm real, you know I'm not fake. I just like making people happy. I just love life.
Yes, that's
and even
true.
though I've been through my challenges and my ups and downs, I just never let it beat me up, right? And you have
That's correct.
experienced that the whole time, even being a single mom, raising my 3 kids by myself, because you know them all, you know every last one of them. And
Yes.
every time you come in town, they want to know what Escalante is doing, even though they don't get a chance. Ronnie didn't get a chance to see you this time you
And now I
came
know
in.
some of the grandkids now.
Yeah, now you get to know my grandkids, and you just been such a great friend. So
Thank you.
I want them to know Escalante, where you started at. Because when I met you, you had was going through college. You had kept going to different colleges. So tell them a little bit more about everything before you started acting. I want to know before you started acting.
Well, background was in urban planning. I went to the University of Louisiana at Lafayette with my undergraduate degree. I went to the University of New Orleans for 2 master's degrees. One was in urban planning, the other one was in geographic information systems. So I worked school board in New Orleans. I worked for the Sewage and Water Board and engineering department. Most of my work was in the City Planning Commission department, and I also worked in public works. And in 2000, I moved to California. Sacramento was the state capital. Worked for the Department of Transportation for many years until Hurricane Katrina. That was August of 2005. So I moved home to help my parents. My parents were getting up in age, and most of my brothers were married with kids. So being the oldest one, I felt responsible to come back home and make sure they were taken care of. But before I moved home, it was July of 2005. I had a friend of mine that told me I would be a good producer because I was a project manager. Also, I was a real estate agent when I lived in California.
Oh, I didn't know that. It's what I think. And as long as I've been knowing you, I didn't know. I know you have multiple. You know, you
Done a
flip
few
homes
things, yeah.
and stuff like that. But I didn't know you was a real estate.
I was a licensed real estate agent in the
What?
state of California, yeah. Because I wanted to learn more about real estate, so I became an agent. And I owned property in Louisiana, Texas, and California at that time. So, yeah, I was an agent. I got my license, I think it was 2002
Okay.
when I got my license.
Okay.
So I had a friend that was in the industry, in the film industry. She said, you know, you'd be a good producer. And I didn't have a clue what a producer did. Basically said, producer's a project manager, and you're already doing that. So she introduced me to people, had me reading books, had given me some information. But at that time, by being working with numbers, working with engineers and architects and being an agent, to me, 1 + 1 = 2. But in the film industry, 1 + 1 could equal -10, it could equal 100. There's no rhyme or reason sometime if you produce a project, whether it's television, whether it's film, whether it's commercial, it's not guaranteed to make money. Whereas if I buy a house and the market trend has been 5% increase in value every year, you can kind of see where your money is going. But in the film industry, it doesn't work that way all the time.
Okay.
So it wasn't something that interested me initially.
Okay, but you went on and jumped out there and you did it. You got into films. You kept going and you're so relaxed with this camera. You know, because how long will it take, Escalante, for me to get relaxed like you? Because this is just number 3, and it seems like since you're sitting beside me, I'm messing up. I'm making all these mistakes because I had practice. I was going to be so good today, Escalante. I was going to be good because you was here. So tell me, what can I do as I grow this year with?
Well, first off, our energies are very different. Mine is more conservative, more relaxed, more measured. You're a live wire. You're an energizer bunny. But that's what makes you attractive, because you are who you are. You're not trying to be somebody else. So don't worry about it. As you progress, as you train, as you practice, you'll get more relaxed, but you don't want to lose
who I am.
You don't want to lose who you are.
Do not. That's why it's so hard for me being in front of the camera, is because Escalante, I'm trying to tone me down a little bit, because I know I'm this wild bunny rabbit and just love all this energy, and I just love life. And I don't want this to be a scripted talk show. I want it to be where I can be myself, and I can grow with this and let the world and everybody on television say, this is Peggy, and I enjoy watching her because she's real and she's being herself every day, and she's not trying to forget who she is.
That's perfect.
So, but now I still want to go back to what made you, I know you said your friend told you about being the producer, but what made you just jump out there? Because how old was you when you jumped out there? Because you had already received 2 masters, you said already?
No, I've been working in with the government, local, state, and also with the federal government for 20 years. I was 42 years old.
Wow.
When I started acting, which is like 25 years late, because most people start in their late teens, early 20s. So I was at least 20 years late. So I never even thought about acting. If you would have asked me, name 10 things you want to do in life you didn't want to do, acting would have been on either list. It never would have crossed my mind. So what happened was, I met another couple that was friends with my brother, and they were in the industry, and then I met them and said, you'd be a good producer. I said, you're the second person that told me that. I said, let me produce something. So that way I won't say, well, at least I didn't try. So I was helping to produce a play in Los Angeles. 2 days before the play was set to perform, they called me and said, we need you in the play. And I'm thinking, they need me helping out behind the stage. So they said, no, we need you in the play.
Whoa.
I say, what? I don't do that. So we talked about it a couple hours, and I said, look, I'll do the play. I'll be in the play as one of the actors if you take all the lines from it. That was an agreement. No lines.
You didn't talk in the whole show?
So
you didn't talk at all?
That was not something I felt comfortable with. I never wanted to be an actor. I never thought about being an actor. So I flew down to LA, and they told me what to do throughout the play. And then during the course of the play, I'm watching all these people talk. And I'm saying to myself, I can say something. It can't be that bad. I didn't, but I'm just to myself.
Yourself.
I was nervous. And at the end of the play, they told me, you look real good up there. You ought to think about becoming an actor. I say, no, that's not what I want to do. But after that first play, it's something inside. It's like something inside me, a light came on. Like, this might be something you might want to pursue. So that was the first step. And I came home as a whole different level of what happened to my pursuit of becoming an actor.
Oh, wow. I'm impressed because I was just shocked. Because the first time I saw you on television, I was at the movies, and that Django, is it called?
Django Unchained.
Django Unchained, that's what it's called? And I just hollered out, "There's Escalante like that!" And the person was like, because you never would tell me when you was going to be doing something. So even when I saw any other film I saw, it was like, I was surprised. And I was go home and I tell my kids, I saw Escalante on the film today, on the show today at the movies and stuff. And they've been just so happy to know that we know an actor. We knew him since we was little bitty kids, you know what I'm saying? And you never changed. You never made them, you just this down to earth person. Since I've been knowing you, 25, 20, almost 30 years, you have always been this wonderful, meek, humble, even though you're about 6'4", right? About
6'2".
I thought you were 6'4". You 6'2"? I thought you were 6'4". But anyway, we're gonna be back. We're gonna go to a commercial break, and we're gonna be right back, and we're gonna be back to talk to Escalante, and y'all get to know a little bit more about him, okay? Back to Peggy's Talk, and right now we're gonna go back to Escalante, and he's gonna tell us what happened after his first play.
All right. After my first play, that was June of 2005, And it was, I had mixed emotions because I had never planned to be on a stage with anybody. And it was not I'm more of a left brain person, and entertainment is more of a right brain activity.
Okay.
So,
Something I didn't know.
that was July. So later on, a few months later, Hurricane Katrina happened.
Okay.
And I'm from New Orleans, so I had to go home and just to check on my parents. And I decided to stay because my parents were a little older. And like I mentioned before, I had younger siblings that had families. I've never been married. I have no children. So it just felt responsible. So I was the oldest to take care of them. So when I was home, I had this, I just couldn't get acting out of my system. I didn't say anything, but just being on stage and having people watch you and being more creative as an individual was something new to me. Besides playing sports, I hadn't had that feeling of being a creative person. So I had a friend, well, a gentleman that I knew, his name was Anthony Bean. He had a theater in New Orleans.
Okay.
And I went to him for lessons. I would just go and watch these people on this stage doing these plays. They'd be up there for hours. And I'm looking, how do you remember all the lines?
Yes.
And after a while, you start to feel like this is really happening. Now, it's not like you're watching actors, like you're watching people in real life, living their life. And
Right.
you have a front seat to their life.
Right.
That's when you have good actors, that's how you feel.
Right.
I could never do that. I said, there's no way. I remember doing one play, they did Fences, this play Fences, which Denzel Washington, Viola Davis did.
And so
on
the
television.
first play you was with Denzel?
So I was watching
Oh, you
them.
were watching them, okay. Because
These other actors do it, and they were some of the better actors in New Orleans.
Right.
Because these people that were doing it, they each had like almost 25, 30 years acting experience individually.
Wow.
So I'm watching them 3 hours. I'm like, man, there's no way. So, but I said I have to at least try it once because I don't want to regret. The one thing I learned as I got older, I don't want to live a life of regret. I wish I would have.
Right,
That is the
right.
worst thing to say to yourself. I wish I would have.
Right.
So I went to Anthony, asked him for lessons. He said, well, take this monologue home, come back when you're ready, and just perform it for me. So I came back in about 2 weeks, and I performed it a couple of times. He just shook his head and said, I don't know if I'm let you in my class. I'll think about it.
What?
Yeah, that's what he told me. It was awful. It was awful.
Golly.
So this is December. This is November, December. I remember right after Thanksgiving, he called me and said, I got a play. I got a part I want you to read for. So I came to the theater. I said, what's the name of the play? He said, The Papaya Man. I said, what's the Papaya Man?
Okay.
I said, what's the part you want me to read for? The Papaya Man. I'm saying to myself, if you are the name of the play,
He's the name of the play.
I was the name
of the play.
character
yeah.
you want, and say, that's a lead.
Yeah, that's the lead
You gonna be
play.
stage a lot. So, you know, my brain said no, but my mouth said yes.
For real?
Because I know I had to do it. I had to do it. If I didn't do it, I was going to say, man, I wish I would at least tried it. So I went to the theater. We had a table read with all other actors, and then we had rehearsal the next day. My first line was "Good afternoon," because I owned a restaurant and a catering service, and I was delivering food to this company.
Right.
And so my first line was "Good afternoon." I don't know what I said, or I don't know how I said it, but he said, "Stop, stop, stop." You sound like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Go back and do it again.
Wow.
So I came back. I did like 5, 6 times. He said, "I don't know." Then I said, "Look, find somebody else. I'll still come every day. I'll be an understudy. I'll do whatever you want, but find a real actor so I can learn. So the next time I'll be ready." He said, "All right." So the next day, I come to the theater, ready to, whatever. He said, "You know what? You get your butt back up there."
Wow.
So 30
you say it like that, and you,
just like
how
that.
old were you? How old were you? And you
That's
just,
how he's a little older than me, but that's how he
just
talked.
saying that you,
I was 40,
but you was
41.
but you was okay to receive that, because
Yeah.
nowadays people can't receive people talking to them.
But
They'll
playing-
run off, they'll quit,
They'll
and
cry,
they would
yeah.
just quit or cry. But that made you still went on and took that.
Well, I felt he
then make you
believed in
feel,
me.
yeah.
I
and
felt
then
he
you kept-
believed in me.
Yeah,
Because
that's
he's
good.
not going to waste his time.
Right.
And playing football, playing sports.
Because
coach-
you was a quarterback though, right?
Yeah, but coaches curse you all the time. So
Well,
that's,
so you
that's
was
no
used to
big
that.
deal. I'm used to that.
Okay, well, some
So
people
30 days later, good afternoon. So that's how
It just came out that
well, it came out better, but it wasn't. If I did it today, it'd be much, much better. But the fact that he believed me, said, "Look, we're going to give you legs till you can walk."
Oh,
That's what he said. We'll give you legs so you can walk. Say, just learn your lines. I just want you to learn the lines. Don't worry about anything else. So I can learn lines. So it just gave me enough confidence to not quit.
Not to quit, yeah.
So, and
That's
I'm not
good.
going to let anybody down who gives me opportunity. So I just came every day to rehearsal. I guess I got a little better every day. And I did that play, and then I did another play, and I did a third play, which was the play August. I did another August Wilson play, and two of the guys that was in Fences that I watched, I was in the play with them.
Wow.
And I was like, 6 months. I was watching those guys like 6, 7 months ago, and think I could never, no way. And then I'm in a play with them. That was 2007.
Wow.
So I did a couple of plays. Then 2008, when I got involved, and I got my first introduction into the film industry.
And that was, what was your first film?
First play was Blackwater Transit. It had Lawrence Fishburne,
Wow.
Aisha Taylor, Beverly D'Angelo, the lady who was in the vacation movies with Chevy Chase, the one who played his wife, Stephen Dorff. A lot of name actors was in that movie. It was my first time on a movie set. There's a lot of things that go on a movie set I had no idea. Like on a union movie set, normally when you get there, they feed you. And they have so many hours later that they have to feed you. I didn't know that. So I get there, I'm eating, oh man, ooh, free food. I'm eating everything I can. And then when you're on set, they have a craft service, like a little setup where you can eat stuff.
Oh, so that's almost
I'm eating
like
again. And then you got your second meal, like 7, 8 hours later, and I'm already full, but
still eating.
So in 30 months, in a month, I was there for 2 months. In 2 months, I gained 25 pounds.
Oh, Escalante. Escalante.
Yes.
What did they say about that? Because you.
Well, I wasn't in the movie. I was an extra. I was an extra. Went from extra to featured extra. I mean, you get more face time. I went to Lawrence Fishburne's stand-in, and that means when they're setting up for the next scene, you stand in so they can check the lights. We were kind of like the same height, the same skin color, so when they checking the lights and checking the camera angles, I was standing for him until he was ready to shoot. So.
Okay, when you go in to tell us about Django, how you say it?
Django.
Because that's when I mean, you were sending me your films and telling me you was in different things, but, as your friend and like people watching me, we don't be thinking that you're going to be big time, you know what I'm saying? 'Cause like people are looking at me like, this is her third time, why did she do that? But you was one of the people that encouraged me to just do it.
Yeah.
Because even with my fears and even with the criticism I'm probably going to get, and I am getting because I'm not perfect with all my wordings and whatever, but I did jump out here.
Yes.
So tell me, how did you get involved with that one? Because like I said, it just blew my mind when I saw you. That I just interrupt the whole movie theater because I screamed it. I didn't just, I just didn't say, that's Escalante. I said, that's Escalante. It was like that. And my date that was beside me, I was like, oh, I'm sorry, but this is Escalante, So I had to explain that. He's just a friend, just my friend, but go ahead into that, Escalante.
That was an interesting experience. Normally when I get involved in anything, I try to do 5-year increments. So I got started in film in 2008.
Right.
So 9, 10, 11, 12, it was the 4th year. In the industry itself, the film industry, I started doing film acting in 2008, but I got involved in acting in 2007, so I'm coming on the 5th year. And I'm trying to reevaluate, because I was doing okay, but wasn't doing mostly a lot of independent student films, very low budget project, which I still love. I like acting, so whether it's a low budget or a multi-million-dollar film, I'm still gonna give the same effort, regardless. But I wanted to move up the scale so I can work more. So I remember it was, the first time I remember was like August of 2012, I got the audition. I didn't know who the director was or anything, and I auditioned for 2 parts. And normal what happens is you audition, then the top people is called a callback. They take, let's say 100 people audition, they may take 3 or 4 people as a callback, and then normally the director and the producer come and they'll watch you in person and they'll make a decision who they want. That's normal for television or film. But normally with television, it's like if you get a callback, you're shooting the very next week. In film, it may be a week or two, maybe a little longer, but this was like from August to November. That's a long time. I'm thinking this is thought it was a whole nother movie. They said, well, the casting director called my agent, and my agent called me and said, Quentin Tarantino wants to meet you at his hotel suite. So he was having callback auditions, his casting person, and the local casting person. And so I'm out there waiting to meet him. I've seen him on television. I never met him. So he opens the door. He's like bigger than life. He said, Escalante London, I love what I saw. You gave me a real character. You just didn't give me what you thought I wanted to see. Come on in. So we sat down and we talked at least 25 minutes. Mm-hmm. He wanted to know, because what he does is when he auditions you, he wants to know who you are. Right. So he's asking me questions, but he's like he's looking through me. It's like he's reading my mind. And he's very gregarious, very big, very intelligent. And he knows exactly what he wants. So we're talking, and then we start talking about the character. Then he tell me what he wants to see. Then we actually act out the scene that he wants, one of the scenes in the movie that I performed. And so we did that. And then he told me after we finished, I said, if I choose you to do this part, I want you to not cut your hair or shave, or might need to lose some weight.
Because you gained 25 pounds.
I was heavier back then. And because there's because of the fight scene, which I didn't know what it was going to be, so to be able to perform that. So,
right.
So we did. And then he had a local stunt man work me out to see if I can at least see if I can move around and be mobile. So we did that. He said, I'm gonna call Quentin and tell him I recommend you.
Okay.
So about a week later, I got a call that I had the part. I had no idea what the part entailed. Zero, because the fight scene was not written in the film. And I had another scene that was written, which was I felt was my best scene, but that got cut out. So anyway, I go on set and there's hundreds of people. They have it set up, it's like you walk back in time. It was like 1850. They had real cotton out there. They had the overseers on the horses. They had the people dressed as slaves. I mean, it was so real, it was scary.
What?
And I would go out and rehearse the fight scene with one of the stunt coordinators every day until it was my time to perform it. And then the actual fight scene that people see, that took 2 weeks to do. And the fight scene you see is the G-rated version. It's not the real fight scene, which was a 2-round fight. And it was a lot more bloody and a lot more vicious than what you saw. But it was too much for the audience to handle, so they kind of cut some of that out.
Okay.
And but yeah, and then there's another part that I had. They had to get cut, and then they didn't shoot the part when I got the auction block when I got sold to Leo DiCaprio's character. But there was a lot of stars on that set, but everybody was cool. Everybody was nice. It was like, we're here to do a job. They treated everybody fairly. It wasn't like, you didn't feel like it was a hierarchy. And right. Quentin is control of his set. And he knows everybody. Whether you're the lowest extra or the top star, he'll speak to everybody. So it was probably the best experience, because there was so many, every department was some of the best, whether it was wardrobe, whether it was set designer, whether it was the caterer. It was some of the best people in the industry in the world. So just to be part of that, and to work with those top actors and for them to treat you like a professional, as a colleague, which catapulted me to continue to act and to do a lot more work in the last, that was 10 years ago we shot. I was March of 2012. I was there for 3 months. Wow, so It's like almost 10 years ago that I did that. So it kind of gave me the confidence. I might not be at the table, but I'm in the room.
Well,
good enough to be in the room.
That's good, though.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you didn't give up Escalante, because I'm like, wow, you just stopped what you was doing and you just said, Peggy, I'm gonna go acting. You had a good career already, just working for the city of
the state of California.
And all of a sudden you just an actor now. You just traveling and you just everywhere. And sometime I text you and you can't talk to me, but you say, hey, I'm doing a film. Like you was just. I know we can't talk about why you came here. You had just got off the set before you came in.
I can tell you I worked on Interview with a Vampire, and I worked. Yes, it's a remake of the movie, from the Anne Rice book. The original movie had Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt.
Okay.
So it's a remake. It's an 8-episode television show.
Oh, it's gonna be like.
It's gonna be on AMC.
It's gonna be on Netflix.
I know it's gonna be on AMC. I don't know.
Okay.
Later on it may be, but it's gonna be AMC originally.
Okay.
And I did this other film in Oregon. I was out there a week, The Harvester, and I did the Mike Tyson story. I was the priest that married him and Robin Gibbons. I played the priest.
My friend is doing that. I'm so excited. You know, we're gonna get ready to go to a commercial, but before we go there, I want you to tell me something about a person in your family. Since this is Black History Month and it is Valentine's Day, so make sure y'all call my son Rob Mack the jeweler. Tell us somebody that encouraged you along the way in your family that people don't know about.
Well, my parents initially. I was very fortunate to have great parents that are still around. My parents are 83 and 84 years old, and they're still around, and they're still going strong, and they're very different. So they provided what I needed, you know, in different ways. They were all supportive. I never wanted for anything. Right. You know, they were supportive without being coddling. Some of these parents today, whatever the kids want, they and the kids grow up lazy and they don't have that hunger. But my parents knew give me just enough to keep me going, but not enough to slow me down.
Right.
So good. And they valued education. So they gave me a sense of duty to be responsible and not to let people down who look after you, who take care of you. So, right. And I kind of carry that with me now. So my parents, I would say, are probably the number one motivating factor that helped me become the person that I am today.
Well, Escalante, I'm so happy that you are here today with me. I appreciate you traveling all this way just to spend some time with your friend and to help me make this show a success. I hope people enjoyed watching you on today. And I know I'm gonna get better. Don't look at me like that. Y'all see him.
I've been telling you that for years.
You've been telling me, but I didn't have the confidence that, you know, that I needed. Because he's been telling me this for at least 20 years. Peggy, you need to be on television. Peggy, you need to get into commercial. You've been telling me that for years, but I was like, nah, I'm just focus on my kids. And, you know, I put my kids in modeling. You know, Robin and Ronnie, they did modeling and they did commercials. But I was the kind of mother, and I'm hoping my kids will look back on today and just say that I had a mother that's a Black female that wasn't selfish. I always thought about them first and putting them first. And now we're gonna go into a commercial break. See you guys back soon.